Welcome back to the real Hollywood, Florida, where the forecast is liberal tears. Democrats still reeling over the downfall of their top donor and favorite crypto scammer, Sam Bankman-Fried, seen here looking like a cross between Nancy and Sluggo. He apparently went to the same barber who cut Phil Spector's hair. The feds are hot on his trail and could extradite Sam from the Bahamas back to the U.S. They probably want to know where $1.7 billion of his customers' money went. Personally, I'd start looking to see if the cash wound up in Nancy Pelosi's freezer, along with her ice cream. Because Sam bankrolled the Dems to the tune of $40 million. But old Maxine Waters doesn't want to talk about that.
Do you think some lawmakers that got donations from FTX's founder should give that money back?
Well, I don't want to get into that. As a matter of fact, both sides, Democrats and Republicans, have received donations. So, thank you.
So, Jesse, everybody else does it. But the fact is, we're not talking about Bitcoin. We're talking about real money that was taken by people. I mean, taken from real people.
Yeah, and then plowed into the Democrat Senate campaign. So he bought the Senate for the Democrats and has committed all sorts of atrocious financial crimes, bigger than Enron, bigger than Madoff, and he's still sitting in the Bahamas trying to raise money.
Yeah.
Why isn't he shackled by the FBI? If this guy was a Republican donor, he'd probably be sitting in solitary confinement right now. Yep. So the Democrats are so greedy. It doesn't matter where the money comes from, doesn't matter how it's been made, it doesn't matter how dirty it is. They just say, give it, give it, give it, give it to me. And this is what happened. Remember Avenatti? They can't see any sort of red flags. Would you give millions of dollars to a guy with hair like that?
No.
I mean, he looks like Booger from Revenge of the Nerds.
That's
he
good.
dresses worse than Fetterman.
That's good.
And he's sleeping with half of his staff. He's in a polyamorous relationship. How has he not been Me Too'd? And then the other main squeeze he's with, he gives a $2 billion loan to, and she goes, I don't know how to do arithmetic, and oh, by the way, crypto's a big scam.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me. And he goes on Chuck Todd's show, and he's shaking. He's physically shaking. No one goes on Chuck Todd's show and shakes. It's the easiest interview in the world. So, you mean, all these things are popping up. He's hanging with Bill Clinton. Any businessman associated with Bill Clinton is obviously sketchy. So the FBI needs to get their asses in gear, or at least Maxine, no relation, needs to do something when she takes charge when she's inaugurated.
Wow, for a minute there, I thought you guys were related.
Yeah. Very close.
Glad he pointed that out. Harold, I'll try to make this as short as possible because I know you got a headache.
Fake news.
Yes. So Jesse makes a great point, which is rare, and we should give him credit for that, that this guy is way too unattractive to be a billionaire. Because you'd fix everything, right? So clearly, like, he doesn't have the money. If you were meeting him, you'd go, there's no way this 28-year-old has $1 billion. He would at least have a decent barber. Why are Democrats so stupid, Harold? That's what I'm saying.
So the investigation that Congress is going to pursue in this matter is the first time that Maxine Waters, who's chair of the committee up until January, and the ranking member who will be the chairman, a guy named Patrick McHenry, is the first time they've agreed on a hearing they want to hold. And they're going to hold this hearing in December, and they'll do it jointly, number one. Number two, I think anyone that received any contributions from, I can't even pronounce a young man's name, but Sam.
I understand, it was a rough night.
anyone that received the donation, it might have been 3-1 Democrats, but there were Republicans who got it too. They should all give the money back. I don't think you hold a politician accountable for something he or she didn't know when the money was given. You may not like his business, or you may think his business is not something, you wouldn't go into that business, but you can't, Judge, it's a legal business the guy was in. Number three, they should regulate this. They should regulate this space. Yeah. And Judge, you and I know sometimes you can regulate a space, but if a person is just really bad and a terrible human being, I don't know if this gentleman is, but if a person's really bad, sometimes you can't even craft laws to make it right. But they should regulate this. They should be transparent about it, and I hope it's bipartisan. That way, people have trust in the laws when it gets done.
I think I heard an audible sigh from the judge, which means, Judge, what do you think?
Bipartisan. First of all, anything that comes out of the House, the Senate isn't going to pass. And if they do pass it, the president isn't going to sign it. They're not going to allow any of us to look like we've got anything positive going for the American people. That's number one. Number two, the New York Times runs an article about Sam Bankman-Fried or Fried, what he is Fried.
You can't pronounce his name either.
Yeah, Sam Bankman-Fried. And I wasn't out with you last night. Sam Bankman-Fried. And, okay, and they say, well, this guy maybe got in over his head. He seems like a nice enough, smart kid. He's got all the right things going on. The Washington Post is in tears. They're saying, oh, my God, the guy was trying to prevent the next pandemic.
Yeah.
So I look up, how's he trying to prevent the next pandemic? By supporting Democrats who say they want to prevent the next pandemic. It's like 80% of the money went to Democrats. It's not going to Republicans. They give it to Republicans so they could say it was bipartisan. And let me tell you one more thing. The kid is a liar. He's a liar. He says he's a vegan, and he looks like an ice cream advertisement. Okay? And finally, let me just say, the guy should have been extradited already. We have an extradition treaty with the Bahamas. Lock him up, move him in.
Yeah.
But that's our Justice Department.
Dan, I think you might agree with me that we need less virtue signaling and more virtue.
Oh, yes, we do. That's a good idea. You know,
Harold said that to me in the bathroom.
Last night.
last night.
Yeah.
That was some
Fake
signaling.
news.
That was some signaling y'all were doing last night.
Yeah.
Indeed,
He signaled a lot of shots.
I guess. So one of the things that Sam Bankman-Fried said is that he was donating this money and that he would do it to liberal causes, right? And he then admits in an exchange with a reporter from Vox News, VOX, that he did it because it gave him the, as you used to call it,
What?
the scandal condom.
The scandal condom.
Do you remember the scandal condom?
Yes, it keeps
Clinton Global Initiative.
Yeah, if you put everything into climate change, no one comes after all of your philandering or whatever you're doing. Hunter did that. Everybody did that. I should do that. Why didn't I think of that? My life would be so much better.
Anyway, that's what I was just thinking, that he really did that, and it exposes it. Well, these things happen all the time. If you would not invest your mother's money in a company, then think twice before you invest in it yourself.
Good point.
Okay.
Excellent job. All right, we got to go because.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.